Inside this modern cantaloupe drying factory, fresh melons become golden dried fruit through a controlled process. The process begins by selecting cantaloupes with the right maturity, aroma, rind color, and firmness.
Cantaloupe is harvested gently because bruising can affect drying quality later. Early sorting removes fruit that is cracked, too soft, or not suitable for drying.
The sorted melons are loaded in shallow crates to reduce pressure damage during transport. Short shaded transport helps preserve freshness before the fruit enters the drying factory.
At the factory, each incoming batch is unloaded and controlled before processing.
Batch weighing helps the factory calculate yield from fresh fruit to dried product. Incoming inspection removes fruit that could reduce the quality of the dried cantaloupe.
Fruit that does not meet factory standards is removed before washing begins.
The first wash removes field dust, soil, and loose surface residue from the rind. Soft brushes clean the netted rind without crushing the fruit.
A controlled rinse prepares the melons for cutting and drying preparation.
Draining removes excess water before the fruit enters the grading line.
Size grading helps the factory cut the fruit more consistently.
A final inspection prevents damaged fruit from entering the cutting room.
The melons are aligned carefully before being cut into halves.
The halving machine opens the fruit and exposes the seed cavity.
Seeds and soft internal fibers are removed before slicing begins.
After seed removal, the rind must be trimmed away from the edible orange flesh.
The peeling removes the hard rind while protecting the sweet flesh for drying.
The peeled flesh is inspected, so only clean orange fruit moves to slicing.
Uniform feeding helps the slicer cut pieces at a consistent thickness. The slicer cuts the cantaloupe into even pieces for controlled drying. Thickness control matters because uneven slices dry at different speeds. Some factories briefly treat the slices to help prepare them for drying. A controlled treatment can help preserve color before the slices enter the dryer. Draining removes extra surface moisture before the drying stage. Slices are arranged in a single layer so warm air can pass around each piece. Loaded trays are placed into drying carts before entering the hot air dryer. The loaded carts enter the drying tunnel, where warm air begins removing moisture. Controlled warm air removes water from the fruit slowly and evenly. As moisture leaves, the slices shrink and their golden color becomes more concentrated. Moisture is monitored so the dried fruit is stable but not over-dried. At the end of drying, the slices become golden, flexible, and concentrated in flavor. After drying, the fruit must cool before sorting and packing. Final moisture testing confirms the fruit is dry enough for storage.
Workers sort the dried fruit, so only good golden pieces continue to packaging.
Size sorting separates premium slices from smaller pieces and fragments.
Final safety inspection helps protect the dried fruit before packaging.
The weigher measures consistent portions for each dried fruit pouch. Measured portions of golden dried cantaloupe are filled into blank pouches. Sealing protects the dried fruit from moisture and air exposure.
Check weighing confirms that each pouch contains the correct amount.
Visual inspection catches seal defects before carton packing.
Approved pouches are packed into cartons for warehouse storage.
Cartons are sealed before palletizing and warehouse storage. Sealed cartons are stacked into stable pallets for warehouse handling.
Stretch wrapping keeps cartons stable during warehouse movement.
Dried fruit must be stored in a clean, dry warehouse to protect product quality.
Inventory tracking helps trace dried fruit back to each production batch.
Finished dried cantaloupe leaves the factory through an organized loading dock.
After drying, packing, and inspection, the finished dried fruit is ready for distribution. Seeds, rinds, and trimming waste are collected away from the clean drying line.
A real drying factory depends on cleaning and sanitation after each production run. The washing line is cleaned, so the next batch enters a hygienic system. Dryer trays and airflow vents are inspected before the next batch begins. Packaging equipment is cleaned to protect the finished dried fruit. First part of the process protects fresh cantaloupe from harvest to factory receiving. The fruit is washed, grayed, opened, and cleared of seeds before slicing.
The edible orange flesh is peeled, inspected, sliced, and prepared for drying.
Controlled drying removes moisture and turns fresh slices into golden dried cantaloupe. The dried fruit is sorted, inspected, portioned, sealed, and packed for shipment.
This sample display shows how fresh cantaloupe becomes golden dried fruit step by step.
Good dried cantaloupe begins with fruit that has the right maturity and texture. The orange flesh is the part used to make golden dried cantaloupe. Even slice thickness helps every piece dry at a similar speed.
Drying reduces water, shrinks the fruit, and concentrates its natural sweetness.
Finished dried cantaloupe should be golden, flexible, and stable for packing.
The finished pouch is inspected before it joins a packed carton.
Each machine has a clear job, from washing fresh fruit to packing dried pieces. Worker safety is critical because cutting and slicing use sharp equipment. Clean stainless surfaces and controlled drainage help protect fruit quality. Dryer control determines whether the final product is stable, golden, and not over-dried.
Batch records help connect finished dried fruit back to the original fresh fruit batch.
A well-designed drying factory keeps washing, cutting, drying, sorting, and packing in clear order.
The first transformation is physical. Whole fruit becomes cleaned, opened, seeded, and peeled flesh.
The second transformation is cutting. Clean flesh becomes uniform slices for drying.
The third transformation is drying. Fresh slices lose moisture and become golden dried fruit. The final transformation is packaging. Dried fruit becomes sealed, inspected, and shipment ready.
The finished product comes from washing, cutting, slicing, drying, sorting, and packing.
Careful carton packing protects the dried fruit pouches during transport.
Stable palletizing helps protect cartons during storage and shipping. The loading dock connects the finished dried fruit to the supply chain.
Golden dried cantaloupe is the result of fruit selection, clean cutting, controlled drying, and careful packing.
The best drying process is clean, organized, controlled, and easy to follow. Good dried fruit starts with good fresh fruit, so inspection begins before cutting.
Seeds, rind, and clean flesh must be separated clearly before slicing.
Controlled drying removes water without burning the fruit or destroying its color.
Final sorting ensures that only the best dried pieces move to packaging.
Key steps are selection, washing, cutting, slicing, drying, sorting, sealing, and packing.
What begins as fresh cantaloupe leaves the factory as a stable dried fruit product.
This is the full journey from fresh cantaloupe harvest to golden dried fruit.
After each batch, the production line is cleaned and reset for the next run.
The final product shows how controlled drying preserves the value of fresh cantaloupe.
Factory discipline keeps raw fruit, clean slices, dried product, and packed goods in the right zones. Every pouch follows the same path: fresh fruit, clean flesh, uniform slices, controlled drying, sorting, and packing. A good factory process makes every transformation clear, from raw material to finished product. Thank you for watching Mega Processing Tech. Subscribe, like, share, and comment what factory we should explore next.